I'm making a lot of things this video. I've been traveling quite a lot and playing a lot of games on location. I have this cool chest that my dad made before I was born, and I use it to transport miniatures or pieces of scatter terrain. Currently it's covered in clouds because I've been playing my labyrinth quite a lot, and I'm finding out that I want something a little more portable. So inspired by this case, I'm gonna make a foldable and portable piece of terrain. But first, I need to open a door to inspiration. I cut these out on the laser cutter. Just gonna finish them up. I've played a lot of D&D, but my favorite setting has always been the Feywilds. I'm super fascinated by it, and I think it's a really fun setting, and it just fits what I want to do in D&D. But about a year ago, I started wondering about the real Feywild. I collect books about folklore, and I discovered that it has many names. The Otherworld, the Fairy World, Tirnanog. There's a lot of different interpretations and stories about it. It was then that I stumbled upon the Hazelands. Well, that's what I call it. Well, everything I make is inspired by the Hazelands. So I've decided to make a door, and I was gonna put hinges on it, but I just realized that I don't have any screws to put these hinges on. So we'll start on something else first. I didn't want there to be a gap between the foam once it was open, but that turned out to be quite a challenge to figure out. I found someone else who'd already made a similar thing online, but I couldn't really see much from the photos, especially how their hinge system worked. So we ended up cutting a bit out of the bottom of the case so that the foam could lay flat. And then we also made like a small cut so the hinges would lay flat. Then we, well, I guess mostly my dad, put in a handle and latches, and it was done. So here it is. As you can see, it's not finished yet. These need to be glued in, but first I'd like to start building on top of them. I'm also thinking of painting the case green, just like the other one, although I'm not sure if that'll look good, so I'm gonna leave that thought to rest. A while ago, I had the chance to talk to Rick Perry, who is the lead on all of the Dimension 20 terrain and miniatures, and it was a super useful and interesting conversation. I'd like to take some of his advice while building this.
A good tip for designing like a battle, map. If you're designing like a big kind of set piece type of battle map, with often we try to think of them as having some kind of conceit, like it's a tower defense, or it's like a escort thing, or it's like a capture the flag, or complete the ritual, or whatever. You're sort of thinking about the overall sort of what's happening in it. So you're creating a bit of a game within a game, or like a puzzle, right? In a way, it's always good to put in multiple ways of solving the puzzle. For instance, we did a battle where there was like this rising water every round, like the players were in the sewer. Cool. Oh, thanks. Well, so in that battle, it's like, okay, the water's going to rise, so one of the things they need to do is stop the water from rising, because as it gets higher and higher, it's going to be harder and harder for them to do combat, and there's going to be these water-based creatures that will have more advantage on them. We put there's one control panel that's really far away that they could get to, that was very obvious, but then also there was little pipe handles and things, and there was, I think, even there were 3 possible ways that they could solve the battle, and not that those all need to come up. It's just you just wait for the players to pick the first one, and whatever one they land on, you're like, yes, that's the way that you solve this, because otherwise if you just do one and they don't guess it right away, it's like you get in this situation where you're waiting for them to solve the puzzle, and that's not fun. There's something about building things in a way that lend themselves to improvisation, that are like little toy boxes, that provide opportunities. You don't have to use them all, and you don't have to use them in the way that the builder is imagining. Don't be super rigid when you're designing and building that.
How I do this. I want to be able to put a lot of scattered terrain on it, but still create the illusion of hilly terrain. So in the corners, I'm gonna put a few very flat hills, not too high, or else I can't close the case anymore. What if I try to make a little river over here? So I can build a bridge over it, because rivers are always fun. And then maybe have a path. Yeah, no, I want a path. like this. So to make the river, I'm gonna try and use a hairdryer. Hopefully that goes well. It's an experiment. We can experiment here on this channel. We don't do anything but experimenting, to be honest. It seems like that just made a funny bit of texture. Probably should have waited longer, but I don't really want to wait. So I'm gonna try the tough stuff. Let's just try and smash it with a hammer. This could actually work. It looks like a cracked riverbed, but I am kind of terrified into doing this into this perfectly cut piece of foam. I then proceeded to use a foam cutter to make the edges of the corner pieces look a little bit more natural. Very important to wear a mask while doing this. The board is ready for a base coat. Dark brown acrylic paint mixed with PVA and sand is my favorite way to create texture and a tough protective layer. I make sure to stipple my brush to create a natural texture. Then I add some bits of cork, where I thought maybe some bigger rocks would lie. Okay, last time I didn't finish my door because I didn't have the right screws, but now I have found screws. Hopefully they should fit and they should be good. But while I was at the DIY store, they were also selling these lamps, and I just couldn't resist. Perfect. Okay. I just want to look like I'm going out into the forest at night to look for unicorns. Let's get going on this door. So I wanted a doorknob for this one and I bought this, but the door is just too thin for such a heavy doorknob. So I thought, I have loads, well not loads, I've made a few things with legs, with baby legs, and of course you still have the heads and arms and bodies, and I thought this could be cool, but it looked like a baby hand. So I'm now resculpting it a little bit so it looks more grungly and less like someone chopped off a baby's hand and more like, I don't know. I made it look worse definitely, but also less like a baby, which was the goal. I think I'll spray it gold and see how it turns out. A little doorknob, creepy, grungly doorknob. So this side is obviously still visible and the pink is super bright, so you definitely see that it's foam. And I also want it to be strengthened a little bit. So instead of painting it black like most people do, I'm gonna try and paint it go away green so that it blends in more with the rest. And also because I don't like black. Mix the green with some Mod Podge so it's hopefully a bit stronger. Using this on the door, I really like it. I'm just obsessed with the color green, but now I'm thinking I kind of do want to do the same thing to my box. I really like it. I just like green, I guess. But I definitely have enough to do the whole box. I just did the inside because that won't be visible. But I think it looks fun and the wood grain is still showing, so yeah, let's just start painting the box. After the box, I also use spray paint to base coat the foam. I have 3 spray paints I use in all of my Hazelands pieces, so it ties everything together nicely. Okay, I just applied the base coat with spray paint, and now I just want to touch up some bits, paint them a bit, especially the river, so it looks like it's a lot deeper. And then when that's dry, we can start my favorite bit, which is walking. Okay, so this is day 3. I thought at the start of this project that this would be a one-day build. Oh boy, I was wrong. I always forget things have to dry and it takes a really long time. It really looks like my box has dried beautifully though. So, very happy with that. And for my door, it's pretty much dry. I really love the green look. I'm just obsessed with the color green. Spray this hand gold and then we're ready to put that on. And then I just have to cast a spell on it for it to actually work. And then we're pretty much done. Now to do this spell, we need a piece of moss from the Hazelands, Eyes of the Unseen, a piece of your own hair. You put that into a receptacle, then we add some water to it, stir well, and we use this as an invisible ink to write a spell on the door. It looks ready, okay. So the portal worked. Put my hand into it and I found some drawings. I'm not sure what these stories exactly are, but I've seen this one before. There's so many of them, so I think I'll put them on my web shop if you would like one, and then maybe you can help me unravel what the story behind them is. So now let me get back to my piece of foldable terrain. So we're just gonna make our own scenic glue. And then I just add a little bit of liquid detergent, not too much, because last time I did put in too much and it became very foamy. I also read online that it's good to spray it with alcohol before you spray on the glue. So we still have some isopropyl alcohol that I use for potion making, and we're just gonna give that a go. I had some leftover clumpy fog, so I decided to make some shrubbery. I mixed up some sawdust and ink and applied that in blobs to create a flowering bush, or a bush with berries, whatever you like. That gave me the idea to mix up some more sawdust and color it like forget-me-nuts, which is a flower that's super common in the hazeland, so I used it to lightly sprinkle over the board and to make it look like a flowery meadow. Before we move on and make any crazy decisions, check whether anything falls down. Wow, okay. I really thought this was gonna go really bad. Okay, this is great. Let's try the other side. Okay, perfect. I was really afraid the little rocks would come loose. We're good for now. It's time to do the water, which is always a bit nerve-wracking. I'm gonna put out my hot take here. I only like to reserve strong opinions for when it's necessary. And I think for me, it's necessary when it comes to resin pours. I really hate resin pours. I think it's so risky. The chances of it destroying your whole thing are so big. There's such a big problem with bubbles, and often you just end up with this huge, heavy, big block of plastic. Like, what we're making is already not very eco-friendly, but just making a super nice diorama and then pouring like a liter liquid plastic on it, personally, I'm not a fan. I just use this painting technique to create a feeling of depth without there actually being a lot of depth. And then if you use the silicone glue, you actually don't need much of it to make it look like it's a nice deep river. That's what I'm doing now. I got my gun ready. I swear I'm not sponsored by it, whatever this stuff is called. I really like how textural it is. When it's almost starting to set, you can kind of like add some texture into it, and then it'll look like a little waterfall, hopefully. And if you want to make it like a bit smoother, then you can add a little bit of alcohol to it and then use that to kind of smooth it out. The terrain piece is done, but now it's time to glue it into the box, which, terrifying, but that means we're almost done, which I'm quite excited about. Now for the test. Yes! Oh my god. Yes, it fits. We're gonna let it dry and then I'm gonna show you some beauty shots. But before you go, I wanna thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions or ideas or things you'd like to share with me, please do so in the comments. If you do like the video, then write a little note and give it to the goblin who lives under your bed. If you wanna see more, this is the place, but you can also find a bunch of stuff on my Patreon. All right, thank you.